Big fish, small pond in the shrimp tank. When it's take a swim, only option is to win. In the murky water, not a thought of giving in. Welcome to the shrimp tank. Wanna put it all together, this is big thanks. Doing big things, chasing big dreams. Yeah, it's all real, this life's all that it seems. All the chicks scream, all the dudes yell. This is just what I do and I do it well. With the flow fresher than the new shoe smell. Going through hell, well homie keep going. You know the saying, you can reap what you sow in. So I don't chase girls, I just chase dreams. Play the same game, but we ain't in the same league. Running a campaign, Brody 2016. Like a phone to die, putting me in charge. I'm a general, from the front I'ma lead the charge. Like a federal, fell on my lap never. Going hard as ever.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the Shrimp Tank, powered by Celsius Beverage. If this is your first time tuning in, you catch all these amazing episodes up on our website, shrimptankpodcast.com. This is the podcast where we collaborate with the FAU Adams Center for Entrepreneurship. We really find the do's and don'ts of running a business here at the Shrimp Tank. And every week I'm joined with one of the co-hosts that direct the FAU Adams Center for Entrepreneurship. Today, I'm joined by Dr. Roland Kidwell. Welcome back to the studio, Roland. What's happening in your neck of the woods?
Thank you so much, Jason. Great to see you. And let me introduce our guest today. He's off camera there, but he's K.W.A. He is a German scholar who specializes in family business. He's visiting with us for a couple months. And here is one of his books, Managing Business Family Dynasties. And I think we're going to get into this with our guest today about how they're going to set up their family business family dynasty, or how that's going. But anyway,
we're going to make our guests read that book.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's got that one and several more. Yes, indeed. So, Heiko, welcome. I'm glad you're here with us. We may hear from him, or at least he may ask a question through one of us here in the show. So, what's going on at FAU? Was that your question?
Of course.
Oh, we have a record
to the brim over here. Must be going
a
on.
record number of applications for fall 2024. 46,000. I don't know how many FAU can accommodate. And the question is it our top 25 entrepreneurship program, our top 25 international business program, or our Final Four basketball team from last year? So that's what we're trying to figure out. What is the factor?
Don't leave us out, Roland, or this podcast right here.
They're beating down the doors because of the Shrimp Tank.
You've seen all these entrepreneurs that are alumni of FAU, and they're like, this is the university I want to collaborate with.
I think, probably 13,000 of those want to be guests in the audience when you get the thing going next year in the theater. Yeah, we'll see.
Yes, but I'm sure the basketball team did have something to do with that.
Something to it.
Possibly.
A tad. And
indeed.
Nothing like the beach is 5 minutes away and the warm weather year round. I don't think that has anything to do with it.
No, not at all. Not at all.
We're going to enter all these variables into our regression model and figure out how much we can explain.
Well, you just post like you teach in class. Do a survey. Take the 100 people that applied and give them the survey, and you'll get the real data.
We'll have to figure out how many of them actually show up.
That part.
I mean, if I could do it over again, I went to University of Delaware. I mean, I would of course have applied down here. It's hard to beat.
Better be an owl than a hen. Going back
that doesn't sound too fancy.
Well, let's get right into our guests today. They are FAU alumni. They met at FAU. So this is going to be a great episode talking about family business, of course. So we have Brian Oliver, Cassandra Oliver in the Shrimp Tank studio. They are the founders of K.W.A. Group Branding. And if you're watching live, you'll see all their material out on our podcast table today. So let's kick things off. We're going to start with ladies first. Cassandra.
Hi.
Tell our audience a little bit about your brand.
Well, we are excited to be here. First of all, I want to say thank you for inviting us, and we are proud alum. Like, there's nothing to beat alum to be back at home. And just a small tidbit, I have an international economics degree from here. So this department looks fabulous compared to the years when I was here. If I'm dating any time back, but it was the economics degree that brought everybody and increased the applications. I'm going to tell you that now. But according to us, we have been in this industry for more than 25 years. Matter of fact, we started here when FAU was aiming to go to a formal licensing event. So when we were students here, we sold to the clubs. We've always done promotional products. And then we grew up and had to graduate hit
Mhm.
real world, right?
How to make some money.
You got to do
Mhm.
that. Got to do
Mhm.
that. So outside of classes, we ran t-shirts. We did all those good things for clubs, departments, and other areas that were working with FAU. So it's natural for us to come back to FAU and supply and vend and
Mhm.
work with our homes, right?
So you started the business while you were students.
We were, well, Brian, you want to share?
Yeah, we were working with another company, small promotional products distributor in Lauderhill, Florida, at the time, and we started, and then went on to work at a Fortune
Oh,
500
okay.
at the time company, Office Depot, and then started our business 6 years ago now.
Oh, okay.
But we always had the dream of having our own business, and the goal to do it. Just wanted to gain more experience over the years and that sort of stuff. But yes, that
Mhm.
6 years ago started our business, and started it with the intention of it being a family dynamic, kind of family owned business. As a matter of fact, the K.W. and our name are the middle initials of our family. I'm Brian K. Oliver, my wife and son, the W, and our daughter is the A.
Nice.
And that's actually where
Mm.
we got the name of the business, and something that we knew that eventually our children would want to join or use it as a platform as they continue to go off and do their thing, whatever way it worked.
Tell us about that first year, right? Where you're at Office Depot, you both have that aha moment. You look at each other and say, "Let's go for it. Let's start our own business." Tell us what that experience was. How
It was
how nervous
definitely,
was it? Right. A lot of our listeners really like to hear, like, the truth
oh,
behind
sugar.
that first year, and they're on the edge,
Oh,
likely,
yeah.
right?
It was definitely a life changing moment for us.
Mhm.
I'm a retired high school principal from Palm Beach County, but when I retired, I was like, okay, what I do now? We still had working years and viable years left, and during the time that Brian and I were dating, we've always talked about, well, when we're done with the adulting, let's start our life. Let's open our own business. So back in 2017 ish, time was on my side. I had nothing else to do. Watching everybody else get up and go earn, I couldn't. I was bored. Brian was bored in what he was doing, and we said, "Well, let's take a leap now, because there's never a perfect time to do it unless you actually go out and start doing the business." So that first year was beyond scary, because it's different from being dependent on someone else's salary. You're getting a regular paycheck, to realizing that all income is generated from the sweat of your own brow portion. So the first year I spent a lot of time researching, because I was not familiar. Again, I'm coming from the education world, so I could understand all those type of things, but coming onto a business entrepreneurial side to understand that, okay, what licensing do we need, what permits do we need, what certifications do we need, all that type of stuff. I spent the first year researching and applying and getting my hands slapped, of course, the hard way. And the other component is that we had no one in our specific situation that we could ask what to do. And that's something that we found challenging for a lot of newer businesses, especially in our field. There was
Why?
no
I
right
just want to
model.
stop on that point. Why? Because this type of industry, like, I just see that there's a lot of people in it,
Mhm.
right? So I would assume that the opposite, that you would be able to speak to a lot of people.
Well, that's the fun part of it.
Right, with a lot of folks in it. So just to clarify it, it's over 15,000 distributors of promotional products, and they range from someone that's just doing it on the side and out of their garage, for lack of a better word, to a very large company with hundreds of employees, like a four imprint that you would see
Yes.
commercials on TV. But everybody is a distributor. They're all considered distributors. We all use the same process of purchasing and selling our products. Now, um, because there are so many, the competition is very stiff, because we can sell to any industry, any customer, anyone who has a desire to promote their brand, to promote their event. There's a lot of competition in our space. So that's why there's not a lot of mentoring.
Ah,
Mm.
got it.
Someone to
Hmm.
go to, because they don't want you to
There are
steal their customers,
there's
right?
not many
Steal.
coaches for this. If they're successful, they keep it a secret, of course.
Exactly,
Definitely close to
exactly.
the best.
And there's some education that you can do in the industry that kind of teaches you how to not only learn the business, of course, but also how to go out and get clients, and utilizing certain marketing techniques, and utilize social media and digital media, and those sort of things. But again, it's really what we found, like Cassandra said, was that the if you didn't know what to do, it was tough learning what to do.
So what questions to ask?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
We didn't
Mhm.
know we didn't know what we didn't know, right? And
Mhm.
we didn't know what to ask. And so some of it was trial by error, but what we did and what our personalities kind of reflected with us is because we're mentors to so many, whether it's actual adults or youth in the communities, and I'm sure we'll get to that a little later. But one of the things we did is when we learned, we taught others. There are others who, who wanted to start this type of business or just start a business in general, and just kind of teaching them these are the important things you need to do. We actually have a workshop that we do where we talk about the 14 things you need to start a business and set it up for success. So that's the point of it. Is once we learned it, our feeling was, let's teach it.
But once we need to partner with y'all because we have a boot camp. We run an entrepreneur boot camp.
Okay.
We've written a book on how to go out and get customers, do customer validation, all the other elements that you need to have to start a business. And I'm sorry we missed you. Our marketing must be bad. We need new branding or something because we would have loved to have you be in the boot camp when you started the business. It's been going on for a few years. Kevin Cox is the driving force in that. But at any rate, what is it do you think that made it easier to do this in midlife? I go midlife, I guess, as opposed to doing it right out of college. What are the things that you picked up over the years that made this not as much of a struggle as it might have been if you just went off right after college?
So it's funny you asked that question because we talk about that all the time. Um, Actually, one of our goals early on was to work for a small business as well as work for a major corporation, so that we could truly see how the engine runs. What are the important things that a business needs? Because every major corporation starts out as a small business, right?
Mhm.
So you to see that growth and how it works, and having spent time in those types of in the industries, really helped us to understand the we call them the four kind of corners, four most important corners of entrepreneurship, of business and business growth. Not that there aren't any others, but the four most important: operations, HR, sales, marketing. And those things are so important. And if you're just doing three of those four, or
Mm.
or skipping by with any of those four, your growth is going to be limited,
Mhm.
and it's going to be stunted. And so those things are so interdependent on each other, and they're separate. And that's why these major corporations have VPs of those areas, right? Like
Mhm.
it's not a you understand it when you think about it that way. But the people that work for you, the processes and systems that you have, the operations, of course, the sales, which is what you're out when you're going out and getting the business, and the marketing, which is what's being said, the messaging about your company when you can't be there, and understanding that difference between sales and marketing. That sales is what you're saying when you are in the room, when you're talking to someone. Marketing is what's being said about you when you're not in the room, because you can't always be in the room,
I
right?
like the way you
So
put that.
Mhm.
so that's a great way to think about why they're close but not exactly identical, but an understanding that all four of those things need to be um, done on a consistent basis, and so much so that we have weekly team meetings
Yep.
where we talk about that, where we work on the business. We don't work in the business at that time. We're working
Mhm.
on the business. We're talking about our goals. Those are the topics. Those are our agenda topics. Okay, what are we doing in operations? What are we doing in marketing? What about sales? What about um,
So did you
you know?
guys both transition at the same exact time from W-2, type salaries to
Oh,
owning
yes.
your own
Yeah.
business, or was it
Your
was it one
Within a year.
first and then the
Within the
second?
calendar, yeah,
within
within the calendar year, we
yeah.
definitely both transitioned. And my story was a little bit
So
more.
let me stop you there and say, in answering my question,
Okay,
you didn't know these four things if you started out right out of college. In
right,
other words, those are the things that made it easier
yes,
knowing that there were these four areas. Just want to
yes,
clarify that.
yes,
Okay, I'm
exactly.
sorry. Go ahead.
Knowing that was, and those were things that we needed to focus on. And Cassandra's focus is operations and HR. Mine is sales and marketing, and that's one of the ways that we can. That our dynamics and that our leadership in the business actually, we're relying on our skills and experiences. And like she said, she ran a school. She and operated,
Mhm.
a major operation, 100 employees, even,
Mhm.
and was able to get everybody to do their job. And those processes and systems had to be in place, and hiring and firing and finding talent and developing talent. That's her specialty. Mine was, I was always in outside sales. So sales and then marketing, of course, too, but sales of getting, all the whole sales cycle, like you talked to the students about, and understanding the importance of that. So we lead in those categories, even in our business. And that's, so learning all those things at those other companies made it easier for us to uh, kind of do those things
Mm.
in ours.
Cassandra, I got a question for you. Often, sales type individuals
Mhm.
have a hard time focusing on the business because they're so sucked into selling the next person being in the business.
Yes. Yes.
And I see you smiling,
Yes.
so how did you help Brian, kind of focus on the bigger picture?
In fairness, Brian and I do have an operations agreement. We have that delineates our lines, what we do, whose jobs, roles, and responsibilities, and we keep to it. So that is the fairest thing. And there are plenty of things that I don't understand on the sales part because I know we're not going to go spend on marketing for this. The budget does not allow for that. No, we're not going to do this. And he'll try to convince me, and we'll go back and forth, like we'll tug and war about it. But sharing from his perspective, I do respect and honor what he has done in his side of the building when it comes to sales. So tell me how it helps. Show me how it helps. Not just bring me the funds. What is it going to do for the long run? Where are we 2, 3 years from now because we made this decision? I don't want to lose money. So those kind of conversations from the beginning, and then he comes with those answers ahead. I know you're going to ask this.
Mhm.
Here's the answer.
Mhm.
It makes the conversation much easier. So I didn't have to help him much. We just had to get on the same language.
Well, that was it. You
Mhm.
taught me how to
Mhm.
think about it further than just that's my job. Again, working for another company and you're a sales rep, your job is to sell. The other part, quite frankly, you don't care about. You don't think about, you don't care about. You only care about what is right in front of you. But she made me think about, okay, how is this going to affect the company? How is this going to grow the company? So I need to think about that anytime I'm thinking about, okay, we should do this, we should do that.
Well, how does it transfer, to the dinner table though? Right? All this makes sense on paper. Like, here's the line. Like, you do this, I do that. Right? Let's do formal meetings. We're operating a business, but all of a sudden, you want to poke the bear. I say, right at night, while you're eating,
Mhm.
and you're like, I'm just trying to eat, and I don't need to be poked about something that I said at a meeting that didn't go right. So how do you control it? Because a lot of you know married couples that go into business together, that's it's one of the hardest parts. It's like where you're not always on all the time,
Right.
and you're able to
Yeah.
keep things to the business side and keep things to the personal side. And we see others say, screw it, we're on all the time,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like you got the Cardone family, they're like,
Yes.
nope, we don't believe in on and off,
Yep.
we're always on. So
Yes.
so kind of explain how you guys handle it.
We have business hours.
Mhm. Mhm.
We have business hours and we adhere to it because we liken the fact that we worked in a corporate environment and we've worked at a business, and I would have not allowed my HR manager or any of my superiors to call me at 6:30 about something for the business to ask me a question to do. Now there are times, granted, that we have projects that run a little bit longer, but because we've had that and we did not like when someone calling me or asking me or sending me a text to respond, we respect that with our household, especially we have children that demand our full attention. We want to make sure that our kids don't write a tell all later on in life that we were sucky parents and we were never there for them. And
All
I
they
never.
did was talk about business.
Yes, that's all they
Yeah.
talk about. So we honored that component of our family dynamic. And when we're closed, we're closed. Even on weekends, even at nighttime, and then we go decompress. As soon as we close, we spend an hour away from each other, and everyone decompresses until we're ready to join the family. Even when our children come home, they go and decompress, and then they come back and join the family. Because we've seen so many other business owners who feel like if you're not working, you're not doing anything, even for minutia of ordering paper for your own company. You could have done that in the morning. So we've seen some very great success stories of going don't get me wrong, there can be any way, but for us, it did not work. We did not want to have the quick early health situations that come from stress. I wanted to keep this guy in this house, in my house. I like him, you know, he's a cute guy. He deserves to be in someone's home, and I figured he should be mine. Um, so the arguing wasn't going to work if you're asking me another question that we talked about during the day.
Right.
Are you at an office and then you come home from the office?
We do have that
Is
behavior because we are virtual, first of all.
right. You don't need to be in an office,
Right.
right? So, but the office helps do what you're just saying,
Our
right? That
mentality,
having an
definitely.
office.
We do handle the mentality of being in the
So,
office.
yes, we do
don't,
have an office,
no
and
matter where we're working.
yes.
So the rent is paying for this peace of mind
There
because you
go.
don't need it, but you have employees.
We do. Most of our employees are overseas. We have several virtual assistants and things
Yeah,
like that that
virtual.
work for us. And how our model works is wherever we can ship the job to get it done, that's where we do it. That is going to be beneficial for the client. That's going to get them the quick product in time. We send it to that plant, that facility.
So these are contractors.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you have any other actual employees who go sell or do some of these
Not
duties?
yet. Matter of fact, we'll be hiring.
Okay.
This
So
year.
your children are not old enough to work in the business
We
yet?
tried them. No, they're
No,
still
no.
school age. They're
They're
still
still
school age.
So how are they in high school or?
High
We have
school and
one
middle
that's
school.
16 and the son that's 13. Yep.
So you started the business when they were young then, because
Sure.
I was thinking it would be a little bit different where maybe they were grown.
Mhm.
It's unusual for a family business to start, I think, with grown children. Usually you have to bring them along like you're going to be doing,
Right.
right?
Yes, definitely.
As opposed to having them be 18 and ready to be your employee.
No, no, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so that's a
That
traditional.
I don't know how that would work at all.
But you're already thinking about passing the business on.
Yes,
Passing the
Yeah.
gateway. Passing
if
the
they
gateway
want
to 'em.
if they want it, but more than anything, we want to show them what entrepreneurship looks like. We
Okay.
want them to understand that that is a path that they are very well trained for and prepared for, and can achieve if that's their job, their goal rather. Our daughter is interested in becoming a lawyer.
Hmm.
So again, having our own firm, you're going to be a
Hmm.
business owner, right?
I see.
Our son is interested in engineering.
Mhm.
But the same thing, if he has his own company, that would be his desire. So it was really the thing we wanted to pass on the most was the understanding, the knowledge, and the confidence
Okay.
that it could be done. If they take on the business as well, icing on the cake.
And we haven't talked much about the products that you sell for the business. So kind of explain to our audience, right? A lot of things are on the table today.
Mhm.
But when I think of these items, I'm thinking like I run an event where I need a booth and I need a tablecloth, for my brand. I need a back banner like the shrimp tank one, for example. I
Exactly.
want to give away things at my booth. It could be these shrimp, for example, that are
Correct.
squishy.
Mhm.
But give us more examples and what
So
makes you guys more unique than others out there, your competitors.
so the to answer the first question, the the way that we try to describe it is we break it into categories because there's over 1 million items that we could truly provide, and that's not exaggerating. There literally is over 1 million items we could provide at any given time. um so the first category is your giveaways, right? Like that's you just talked about, the things you would give away at an event, that would have your logo, your advertising message, something that folks would keep and hold, and it could be anything from a pen to a lunch bag to a backpack to pencils, rulers, tote bags, mugs, so on and so forth. The second category are your corporate gifts, and those are more higher end items that you would usually give to, maybe if you're a company, you want to give it to your top sales reps or to your top clients, or your staff as a holiday gift, for staff motivation. A nice portfolio, a laptop briefcase bag, something like that, a big golf umbrella. Those are the corporate gifts. The next category are your custom decorated apparel, so like what we're wearing today, and things that you guys have with FAU logo on it: staff shirts, polo shirts, button-down dress shirts, blazers. I mean, and the list goes on in apparel, and also screen printed T-shirts too. The fourth category are your recognition items, so your awards, trophies, plaques, things of that nature that you would do to recognize someone for winning something or what have you. And then the fifth category is what you mentioned, Jason: the banners, signage, table covers, your big retractable banners, your pop-up banners, your custom tents, things of that nature. So a lot of times we'll call them outdoor events, but they can be for indoor as well. But those trade show displays, those big, large things where you're trying to just advertise a message. And then if you want to take the differentiator for us,
Yeah, what's the differentiator?
So we take it as a consultative point of view. We want to make sure that our clients are not buying things that are going to end up in the trash. So, of course, if that's what you want, we'll sell you that item, by golly. But we want to consult with you and figure out what is your message. Where will you get the most impressions for the product that you're purchasing? Where will your clients and your end users be when they're thinking or need of you? So that consultative part is what we pride ourselves on, and has been 99% referral for our business. 99% of our clients have come from referral because we handle that consultative part, and we take time of understanding our client's business and asking them why you're choosing this item, or where's your budget. Let's see what we can meet to get you the best bang for your buck. So
And then
that's
do you also do the design? Like if I come to you, I'm like, hey, this is my brand, but I don't know what poster for the shrimp tank, right? Can you help me design it? You
Yes.
do that as well?
Yep, we do logo design. We can do fulfillment where we're packaging things together and shipping them out to individual
Makes sense.
homes and businesses if you need. We can do an online company store where we're just having some products that we've already pre-picked and pre-negotiated pricing for, but we just have it set up for you just for your own needs and maybe the different locations of the business all just go to one website and order what they need at that time. So a lot of programs and services that that our industry provides, we provide all of those.
It makes a lot of sense because I bought things from Vistaprint, 4 Ink, like you're mentioning, and a lot of times that's where there's no customization involved at all, right? I just want 2,000 shrimp, right? Very easy. There's nothing on it. There's no logo design. But the second I want something, that's really important for a booth event, right? I need design,
Sure.
built into it. And I don't want to buy the wrong one and then end up
Right.
not using that. And a lot of mistakes happen when people design things themselves. They order it, they do it themselves. It comes out wrong, and then they don't have it on time for the event.
Right.
And then they can't use it the next year because they put a date on it,
Oh,
and they make those errors that you would not make. You would advise them, hey, you're about to put a date on this thing, then it's over. You can't use it the following year. Like, why not make it a little bit more general so that way you could reutilize it, of course. So I
Yeah.
completely understand where you're coming from. We're going to take a quick commercial break to hear from one of our sponsors. When we get back, we're going to jump into our What's Hot segment of the show.
Mhm.
Join the fastest growing community of professionals on the internet with OWL. Access new networks and otherwise unreachable professional contacts through the one-on-one call feature on the app. Scroll through the list of available professionals and join them for a quick call to build rich connections, expand invaluable relationships, and to broaden your professional landscape without needing lofty referrals. OWL. We bring vetted pros to your doorstep 24/7 on demand. Join
What?
our community by signing
little
up at
bit.
owl.com today.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the Shrimp Tank. As a reminder, we are live every week right around 1 o'clock at Shrimp Tank Boca on Instagram, Facebook, as well as my LinkedIn account, Jason R. Hill. And as you heard from that commercial, you can call our guests, Brian and Cassandra, on the Owl App 101 at some point next week. They will make themselves available. And that's the coolest part about this podcast, that you get to actually connect with them and learn and gain knowledge and really pick their brain about any topic one-on-one. So on this segment of the show, it is called What is Hot? So I'm going to let Dr. Roland Kidwell kick this segment off.
Okay, Ted, you got all these water bottles in here. You got these lunch bags. What is the hottest thing companies want to brand, and what has been the hottest thing for the company to get or organization to get that brands that company that you would recommend, but also what they want too?
I would say, generally speaking, the hottest types of items are your technology accessory type of items. So the phone charger or the phone cords, um the blue light kind of LED light the items or things of that nature, because those are the things that folks would keep on their person and have with them at all times. So the marketing and branding is consistent for that reason, and they're using them a lot. Of course, everybody uses a charger at some point, right? So generally speaking, as far as the type of item, and it stretches across any industry. But if you were to go to a specific industry, then the second type of hot items would probably differ. For a school, it would be more around, or a college or university, I should say. It would be more around the t-shirts. Those are what college students want. They want to wear a t-shirt with their school name on it, at the most. So those are hot and tried and true items. Or maybe even a type of fabric that's a little bit what's the word, distressed kind of look, and that's the vintage look, for example, is in right now. They call it old school, but at the same time, I was their age when I was when I was wearing it, so I guess I'm old school. But those, and then the same thing, for a nonprofit agency, it may be something for staff that's hot and something that they need when it comes to portfolio or a lunchbox to go to the office. So by industry, it could differ, but generally speaking, I would say technology.
And the flip of that, what would you advise a company never to get as an item?
Napkins.
Yeah,
Napkins. We have printed food items, napkins and such, because once it's done, the container, no matter how nice the container is, you're not keeping it. You're throwing it away. You can think about all the Christmas gifts or holiday gifts you've gotten. The packaging was beautiful, but now you only cared about what was inside. So if you want a napkin, by all means, we will do it. I don't want to say that we won't make the napkin for you. However, but napkins are one of the things, and I'm no slight on the industry. Decorations and all that great stuff. You need your color palettes. But what is the purpose of that napkin? Are you intending for your clients to take this napkin home all the time and use it? Is it reusable napkin? Like, what is the purpose of it when it comes to marketing and branding? What's the long point and long game for you? That is one thing for me. Another item which I was slow on until I keep looking for it are pens. And back before internet access was on your palm in your phone, you had to have your doctor's office and all the important places on a pen to quickly reach their information and go back and find a quarter and pay. Right? Is that dating myself or what? But those type of items, let's figure out what you're really needing this for. If it's a napkin, again, happy for you, but is that really going to get the messaging that you want out in the area so your clients and your end users will use it?
I guess for your own business, what is the hottest, target market, right? Is it working with universities? Is it working with small businesses that are under 10 employees? Is it big organizations, that consistently order but are harder to get paid from, right? It all kind of comes with the territory. The larger the organization, the more red tape, of course. So what's the hottest that you found to work with so far?
Because we can work with anyone, it is important for someone in our industry to separate themselves by having niche markets, and we do have 3 niche markets that we kind of cater to, or call ourselves quote unquote experts in, and it would be healthcare, education, and nonprofit agencies and organizations. Education, no brainer, Cassandra, coming from that, and again, like we talked about, working with education, higher ed, and K-12 as well, for 20 plus years, is one reason why education is one of our niche markets. Healthcare is because there's so many healthcare agencies here in South Florida,
And they're
sure
so
we know.
profitable.
Exactly,
Right.
very profitable here in South Florida. So it makes sense, and they have events all of the time. So which is either the number 1 or the number 2 reason why someone would order promotional products is to promote an event, right?
And
So
they're not nickeling and diming, right?
yes,
A lot of small
that's another.
businesses that are struggling to make ends meet go to a trade event and they're like, this can is $3, this water bottle, is $2.25, and then you order like 1,000. You're like, there's a big difference. And these
Correct.
big organizations are like, that one looks better. That's what I want.
Yeah.
There you go.
Right. And
There
I
you go.
understand. I'm a small business owner. I'm looking at like the pennies on these things because
Sure.
you order a lot of t-shirts, right?
Right.
I had to order like 250 t-shirts. I went to Podfest Expo for the Owl app, which is a startup. I'm like, this is a very big expense.
Yes, it is.
So I know, like,
$1,000
and I'm nickeling and diming the person on the other end. I'm like, do we got a cheaper shirt out there? Like, I'm just giving these things away. Like, I don't care
Right,
about the
right.
quality. I
Yeah.
care about what says, you could pick, my brain after you pick your credit card method, right?
Yep.
That's what it said on the back. I'm like, that's all I wanted to say.
Yep.
Right.
I want people to take photos, but I don't care if it lasts, right? So I completely understand where you're coming from.
Yes, jumping on, living on that fence, right? Quality versus longevity,
We're
right?
going to wear them if they're no quality, though? Are they going to still wear them?
They just wanted to take the photo during it because a lot of the times, I mean,
Oh.
you guys know a lot of the times like this stuff doesn't do much for the smaller businesses, right? The brand awareness is great, but if I'm giving out 200 shirts and I'm trying to push downloads, the truth is that $6 shirt, you got an impression there at the event, but after that, like it's not doing that much versus a bigger brand. They just keeps handing out shirts at the shirt. You understand what I'm trying to say?
No, and I will definitely want to speak to that as well. The small business versus the larger, mid-sized enterprise business, and our approach to each one, and why. And the third niche market was nonprofit, and the reason why, to some of our, we call them colleagues. We don't call them competitors. We call them colleagues. We don't have a competitor as the way we kind of think. That's the way our brain is wired, at least. But the nonprofit type of organizations may not have the big budgets like a for-profit organization. However, two things about the nonprofit kind of industry is, one, Cassandra and I both actually volunteer in the community with several nonprofit organizations. So we're in the communities, we're out talking to and volunteering our time and sharing our experience and skills and knowledge and through those organizations. But the other reason is because nonprofit organizations, they are actually the ones that are in most need of marketing and providing or needing a platform to talk about the great resources that they provide to the communities that they serve and that they're there for. And also too, they actually share with each other their successes. Well, Coca-Cola would never share its vendor with Pepsi, right? They're competitors. But the United Way would share its vendor with Boys and Girls Club, because they'll say, look what these folks did for us to further our mission. They can do the same for you. So we found that niche of we're probably the most proud of that niche market that we found, and becoming an expert there and a true partner in that field.
Because they're really marketing. They're marketing you.
Yes,
That's basically what
they
they're
are.
doing.
They are. They really are.
Yeah.
And going to your other point about the small business versus the larger, it is absolutely true. The larger companies, they have a big marketing budget. They have a VP of marketing, right? That can handle, that is supposed to, that's their job, is to handle marketing, but a small business does not. So what we try to make this sure the small business owner understands is, promotional products, in essence, is just one of the advertising mediums that exists out there that you can use. But the difference between promotional products as an advertising medium versus radio or television or something like that, or a big billboard, is that those mediums are designed to catch a larger audience, and you're going to grab a percentage of those folks that see it and will become your customers. But they're really designed to grab a larger audience where everyone could be your client. Everyone could buy a Coke, right? Everyone could go to Subway and get a sandwich, right? Like so those big billboards are great for that. When it comes to promotional products, it's very easy for you to target and be very targeted in your marketing, because you're handing an item specifically to someone. So when you're at a trade show, and you're hopefully at the trade show because the folks coming up to your booth are actual decision makers that could use your business, right? So you want to hand them this item where, as Cassandra said earlier, it'll be something where when they are in the most need of your products and services, they would see that item. Oh, what's the name of that company that oh yeah, my refrigerator magnet, or my coaster, or my bag, or my pen, or whatever. Yeah, that has his information on it. So let me call them up now, now that I need them, or I need to share that information. So that targeted marketing of multiple, hundreds of thousands of impressions each time, it's still that becomes a bigger return on your investment, and a much better return on your
And
investment.
how do you tie it to the digital world, right? Like I have a business card, right? And right here, the individual who gave it to me has a QR code,
Yep.
right? So a lot of products, right, like this water bottle, then you could kind of bring into the digital side of things.
Yes, we
And then
print
of course
QR
it
codes.
creates a funnel and it creates a lead for that company or a
Correct.
customer potentially. So kind of how do you tie it? And we've seen a lot of, folks in your space eventually go down that path completely. Then they start helping people with their websites, right? Then
Uh-huh.
they help on the digital marketing side because it's all marketing and sales, like you said earlier,
Mhm.
right? So how do you tie, your business to that end of things?
Well, it's definitely matching the product to the trend. And anything that can be printed on can be printed on, can be printed on. So our ideas, that intentional marketing, like Brian was speaking about earlier, has to be concise. Everything has a QR code, especially since we're all exiting COVID. That was one of the inventions that we've not strayed away from. So let's match a product with the QR code. If it's a tumbler, your product is going to have a QR code that will help that digital visibility and that line of communication consistently with your client. We do that. And we help our clients promote their website also. If you're getting a printed item, put your website on it also to get that cross promotion. We work with those trends and try to foresee what trends are coming across, because having teenagers will tell you what's coming up next. They'll let us know what song, what item is.
So what is the hottest thing right now when it comes to like taking a physical product and then bring it to the digital world, right? Because we go to these events all the time, and you see like the photography booths going around in circles, and people are like, that's pretty unique. They've never seen it before. We over at the Owl Podcast, are doing interactive podcasting, and people are like, that's such a cool atmosphere at a typical convention, right? So like, what is different out there that you're seeing that is a secret, I guess?
I don't think is a different item per se, because again, you still go back to say, I think like Cassandra said, if you're printing the QR code on that item, that then brings that person to that website or to that app or to that stream, if you
Gotcha.
would.
So bring them to like a video, and then like the
Exactly.
video could kind of wow them.
Yep,
Um,
exactly. So it's really just doing that, adding that simple piece, and from a cost standpoint, it doesn't cost any more money to print that QR code on that item, right? So you're doing that, and that's really how you're taking that physical item and bringing it into the digital space. And to go back to something else you asked, which is how do we entertain or even ascertain when it comes to folks who are coming to us asking us about actual digital marketing, and do we do it, and
Yeah.
how do we do it? And it's true, you're right, we don't do it, and we're not an expert in that field, but we have partnered with many companies that do, and they will send business our way when someone who wants to get actual promotional products,
Sure.
they'll send them our way. And of course, when they need to build that website, they need to get a social media account and a platform, and they want to have some visibility there, we would send them their way. So I think that comes with the partners, because of the fact that we can work with any and everybody that can be our client. We have a very large network and folks that kind of partner with us, even to the point of if we do a lot of referring to each other, we'll give each other a percentage of the sale, right? When they bring them our way, and vice versa, we bring them their way. So yeah, it's really more of a referring standpoint at that point. We don't want to, well, at least at this time, we didn't want to get into that market ourselves with all of the other things we have going on. So partnering with someone who does it, that's the best way to do it.
I want to share with you also one cheap plug is the Tap T, which works with your phone, which works with a wearable. And what happens is you'll put your phone right onto that T-shirt, right by that barcode, and it'll pop up to the website, and it'll show you whatever's going on. And there was a movie recently that had that in their marketing items. It was a pink movie. I'm sure we're all familiar with it. It was with a young lady that was Miss President and such like that. And it's an item that when you tap your phone onto it, it comes up, and you're able to change the marketing all the time, but the person is still wearing your T-shirt with the code on it, and they can still be up to date with whatever it is that company's launching, whatever that company's events, special events are coming on. You can always connect it because the code stays on the shirt, but the marketing behind it can always change.
That's
So you
actually a
keep
good
engagement.
idea.
Yeah.
So like that T-shirt that I made,
Yep.
like, that we saw a lot of posts about it.
Mhm.
It was as simple as like you could pick my brain after you pick your payment method.
Sure.
But if we had a big QR code on the back,
Yep.
then people would run up because they were running up to people taking pictures anyway.
Yep.
And they would scan it and then bring them into a different message campaign,
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
you could continuously change it. That's
So,
pretty-
so,
that's
so
pretty
not so
smart.
much the item changing, but adding that technology
Yeah,
to
the
the item.
the code.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And the
That's-
tap T, yep, that
Yep,
are
yep,
decode, yep.
Yep.
Sure.
So it seems like you don't have any inventory really.
No.
You don't have any real. Your contractors are virtual. This seems like a pretty appropriate business to pivot to anything you wanted to do. You
Mhm.
thought about that? I mean, if something pops up,
Are you in our weekly meetings?
not yet.
For sure. The overhead costs aren't there. The inventory like you spoke about is not there. We are happy. That makes us fluid in essence. That makes us easy to pick up and go, and we can meet anywhere, anytime. That aligns with us, first of all. That aligns with what we would like to do and be in front of our client end users, definitely. But because we don't have that brick and mortar behavior, um not that we wouldn't want to be in some place, but for now it does not fit how fast paced things are happening. With inventory, you really have to be mindful of what's going to not be what's going to be left on the shelf and its life and its utility after the fact. So someone else can handle that for us. That is the part of being a little bit more nimble and being contemporary with what's going on in our market. And then, especially since we're coming out of this epidemic and this pandemic, we did not have the accessibility. Did not make sense to have those touch points to make sure that we kept our numbers in the black, as opposed to figuring out a new marketing scheme to wholesale things to get it out of the way and try to import. And the capital cost also, the capital outlay that would come in that area and the capital burden that came with not being fluid just did not make sense for our model, especially as where we wanted to exit in 20 years or so. We wanted to make sure that we didn't spend too much time exiting as it took coming in. We wanted to be able to make a quick, clean break and end up on the beaches where we live. So,
and that fluid, the type of thought, and has also allowed us the platform and the ability, I should say, to even start a second and soon to be third business. So our second business is K.W.A. Group Rise, RISE, where we're doing trainings and consulting and public speaking and workshops and things of that nature. Matter of fact, we've done some workshops here at Florida Atlantic. She moderated a panel with the Alumni Affairs Office. We've done some workshops with the FAU football team and have some other events lined up. So those sort of things we are able to do. And again, you pull from our experience and the things that we've gained over the years and create workshops for youth and adults, depending on what's needed, and be able to speak to that and use that. So like you said, because we're not tied to a brick and mortar, because we're not tied to some specific machines that we need to make sure are always cranked and running, we have that ability to pivot and to add on even more things in our day to day.
Well, it also, is marketing on your business simultaneously.
Sure.
Right. Because as you're out there speaking, then naturally people are going to come up to you and say, what's your other business like? And naturally, they're going to be buyers. Right. So it makes perfect sense, because most businesses are all about relationships and connections. So the more you get out there, at FAU and teaching everyone, full circle, as they get going, they're going to come right back. So it's planting a lot of seeds.
definitely
Makes
lift it.
sense. We're going to take a quick commercial break here from one of our sponsors. And then we get back. We're going to jump to our Plead, the fifth segment of the show.
Uh-oh.
Step into our state-of-the-art innovation lab and create your digital future. Oz uses cutting-edge technology and 22 years of industry knowledge to enhance customer experience through digital innovation in a variety of expertise. Oz is a leading global consulting company whose services and solutions are trusted by startup, midsize, and even Fortune 500 companies. Get to know more about Oz's Salus, a mobile solution bringing us back to max capacity, and their latest solution, Rainmaker, saving insurance companies years of work. To learn more about Oz and their exciting technologies, visit followoz.com. That's FOLLOWOZ.com.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Shrimp Tank. Okay, Brian, Cassandra, on this segment of the show, it is called Plead the Fifth. You could only do that one time. And if you plead the plead the fifth twice. I don't think Roland's going to let you back at this
Oh,
university.
sugar, let's
Okay,
not
so
do
be
that.
careful.
Let's not do
You guys like this university.
I love it when he tells me what I think.
that.
So let's bring up FAU for a moment.
Mhm.
Okay. Brian, tell us, what, talk about, the worst professor you ever had. Will you share the
Ooh.
name of that professor, why you didn't enjoy your experience, or you don't want to call out them? I mean, it might have been a long time ago, 20 years ago. They might not be around to kind of care.
Dr.
So,
Scudari.
okay.
Oh,
What did
sugar! Like
what
you went
happened?
straight to
What-
it, didn't you?
I have a best and I have a worst. So
Okay. What happened? Why didn't you
oh
like
my
him?
goodness, I had to take her class twice. There was when the syllabus came out and it talked about doing papers. I thought there was no way this is real. That there are this many papers due in this short amount of time frame with this many pages each time. But no, it turns out she was actually pretty serious about that. Those amount of pages, and if you were one paragraph short of reading that page, you failed the whole. You got an F on the whole paper. So yes, it was that.
Sounds like you got an F the first time around. Then,
I sure did. I took it twice.
Oh,
I really
yeah.
did. I took her class twice.
You got the I.
Dr. Scudari.
Are they still
Now-
here? Are they still here or
I
no?
don't know.
What was
I
that?
avoided-
Was that an English class or?
It's communication. My major is communication.
Oh,
and it
okay.
was
I have
really
a journalism major, but they always told me not to write it too long.
Yeah. See?
Not to go too long. So let's just ask, just in general, what is the biggest change that you've seen at FAU? You're connected to FAU through Alumni Association, through some of the work you do. What's the biggest change you've seen over the years? Both of you can address this.
Honestly, the footprint that FAU has garnered within the past few years. I won't even say 20 years or 10 years, just within the past 5 years of engaging community stakeholders, business partners has been tremendous. And the efforts that the teams have been putting forth to make sure that they understand the brand of the university, what it looks like internally, and communicating as the university is going through now a new branding approach, but communicating clearly what the objective is and the purpose of it. We've seen several different attempts of different departments doing their own work. Now it's becoming uniform and communicating one message out to everybody. And especially during the last season, that run through basketball of hearing people FA what? They didn't know what an F or A or U was. And the efforts from the university within the past 5 years to brand us as Florida Atlantic, as opposed to find another university when we were looking and coming through.
I haven't heard that before.
Oh my gosh,
Find
it was
another university.
find another university when we were applying to schools back in the wonder years of the outside looking in, and what there was a disconnect at one time, the general outside public and what was happening within the university. It was not, there was a disjoint. So in this past 5 years of having everyone communicate one breath, one voice, one sound, and promoting and marketing, that has been tremendous in my viewpoint. Brian, what do you think?
Mine is also growth, but in two specific areas: growth on campus, growth. I was an on campus resident student, even though we were born and raised in Fort
Yeah, you were the only one, right?
I know,
There's
right?
not many people there.
Right. And even though I'm from Fort Lauderdale, my mom was like, "No, you're getting out of the house. I don't care what happens, where you go to school. It's just you won't be here." But living on campus back then in the dorms that some found out later to not be so safe, even in some cases. But now they're hotels. We don't call them dorms. What they
Resort
have
style.
now, hotel. They have resorts compared to what we had. So that type of growth, is one part, but the other growth is in diversity. Also came here on a Martin Luther King Jr. scholarship. So diversity was important to FAU even back in 1993 when I started here. But to see that continue and even grow even more, and the diversity of FAU and the student population and the staff population, diversity in the staff. That is easily the thing that I'm the most proud of seeing, and that I've witnessed and have been able to watch over the past talk about 20 plus years now.
What's your worst experience at FAU?
Oh, sugar.
You could
I
say
was
the
a
words. You
right?
could say, "I plead the fifth."
No, this one, I was a community student after, and I'm a transfer student at that when I came back to FAU. And my worst experience, I remember I was about 15 minutes from class starting, not 15 minutes away from campus. I was 15 minutes away from class starting, and everybody who drives onto campus knows this part of as soon as you come down main drag. I thought I was driving the speed limit. I thought I was going to make it to Fleming Hall on time. That was the plan. And I got pulled over, and I don't even know where the police officer was. And the first thing he came out and told me, not, "Do you know why I'm pulling you over?" The first thing he said is that, "I'm a real cop." And I was like, okay, that's what I did. Okay. Am I in trouble? Like I was a new driver at the time. I had just gotten I was like, what's happening? And he's like, I'm a real cop. And I was like, okay, so what? Why class starts for me now in 7 minutes. I got to get to class. And he went on about telling me how he was a real cop. So finally I asked him, I said, "Can I just please have my ticket? I don't know what I'm getting in trouble for, but can we just end this so I can please have my ticket?" And by golly, that was just the worst experience I had ever had. And he went on a tirade about it and then threw my ticket at me. And I was like, okay. So when I walked into class, all my classmates who drove past me were laughing. They're like, "Oh, you got caught by," and they're like, "We saw him. We just waiting for you to zoom by so we could all make it to class on time." And I'm like, "Oh, great. So happy I could save you all from the ticket." But that's been the worst for me.
Well, I guess he's no longer here.
He's no longer here. He is absolutely no longer here.
How about you, Brian?
Well, I kind of touched on it, but
Right,
I would say the reason why those dorms that I lived in had to go was because one of them had asbestos. So we had to move out and then live in a
Well, I
hotel.
thought you might tell us
for a
a
semester.
I thought you might tell us a colorful fraternity story.
No, I don't know if there's a platform for that.
Well, you can plead the fifth if you don't want to tell me. If you don't want to mention that
I
one.
definitely have to do that, but but no, yeah, that was just having to live off campus for a semester in the Holiday Inn Hotel on Federal Highway. That wasn't a good experience.
Okay, so he's pled the fifth
I pled the
on
fifth
his
on that.
fraternity.
Yeah.
Okay, we got one. Now we just gotta get one more. Cassandra, biggest pet peeve of working directly with your husband, or plead the fifth. You don't want the world to know a pet peeve of yours.
My pet peeve for working with my husband, my partner, is that Brian seems to think I'm part of his sales team all the time. Like no matter what is happening, he walks in, no matter what I'm doing, he'll walk into my side of the office or walk into wherever I'm working and download about this price point or that price point. And I'm in the middle of an application or whatever I'm doing, and he's downloading. And I'm like that. And then you just have to sit there and look at him, and then he'll go back to doing whatever it is that he's doing. But that is there was a point that our desks were facing each other. We had to turn our desk away from each other because he would be monitoring what was going on my screen and ask me, "Well, you've been on that screen." I'm like, "Well, the application is that long. It takes me a while to get all the pieces to upload." And he's like, "Well, this client X, Y, and Z." And I'm like, "Look, I don't work in sales. I'm not today. Today I'm in operations. Go ahead." So we started moving our desk. I had to turn his desk to face the window so he wouldn't see what I was doing. And that was, oh yeah, oh sugar, that was a piece. That was a piece until we figured it out.
Okay, Brian, how about you?
You already took my plead the fifth, didn't you?
Right, we did.
Tread lightly right now, Brian. You want to have a good dinner tonight.
Yeah, I know, right? I know. Oh man, I'm sweating.
Think this one through wisely.
I'm sweating. Boy, let's see. I would have to say just well, she didn't finish this sentence that we actually don't work in the same office anymore. So I think my biggest pet peeve would be that she won't allow me to download. So much so that she had to I had to go into another area of the house to work, and I now work in the dining room area because I was too much. And I wasn't able to finish what I needed to finish to get it. That transference, right? She won't let me transfer, and I needed to do that. So I would say that's
I knew the fraternity question would get you. Now, Cassandra, who is your worst client? What's the name of your worst client? The most difficult to deal with client that you have?
K.W.A. Group Branding is my worst client.
Well,
No, like not for nothing. They are, oh my sugar, because what I want to do as Brian, I like this product. Let's do it on this, and then he'll grill me. Okay, why are you using this product? Where's this gonna show up? Why are we doing this, Cassandra? I said, but it's pretty. It sparkles, or it shines, or it makes noise. It'll get people's attention. He's like, no, you just want it. It's not going to help anybody who uses it. So just order the sample and keep it for yourself. That K.W.A. Group Branding is my worst client.
who is your second worst client?
I plead the fifth.
Yeah. Well, Brian, Cassandra, thank you for joining us on the Shrimp Tank today. For audience listening, what are the best routes to get in touch with your brand?
Well, we are on all platforms for K.W.A. Group Branding, social media platforms. You can find us there. Our website is kwagroupbranding.com. By all means, our phone numbers are listed on those areas too. And as quick as Google search, also, we're in the Palm Beach County area. So please don't hesitate to find us that way.
Awesome. Well, everyone listening, we'll be back next Wednesday right around 1 o'clock. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Like a shark in a shrimp tank. Big fish, small pond in the shrimp tank.